Yes, everybody, I'm back. I'm back from my little trip to the Cotswolds. How very lovely. Russ and the West End Network. Hope you are all safe and well. It's a Thursday night live, and it's live. So I thought, I've been away for a couple of days, and so it seems that things might have finally started to move a little bit in terms of the transfer sort of policy. It seems over the last sort of 24, 48 hours, we seem to have gone completely full circle in terms of, let's say Monday. I think I did a show on Monday. We spoke about having to sell before we buy, and that was the assumption. And now, 48 hours later, now they're dishing out the money. They're going to put the money in. It makes the most sense because actually, what's happening at the moment is by saying we are, very much waiting for people to buy our players. It makes us desperate, and so we'll take any old thing. And it seems that's the case with Nathan again. There's a case in now. What seems to have happened now is by saying, "Oh, actually, we're gonna put money in now," then it does suggest that there is sort of a backward step, but we should never have had that backward step in the first place. We should have been doing now, or potentially now, what we should have been doing 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's. I mean, let's go through some comments. There's loads of comments, loads of people here. Thank you very much for joining me. Evening, Mark. Hope you're well. Elliot's a must. Don't mess it up like Duran Saga. Just go out and get him before Brighton nab him. He is such a Brighton, signing, isn't he? Really, like and obviously vis-a-vis who started that Brighton type was under Potter, wasn't it? So you can see why there's parallels in terms of a lot of the players we've linked with, and actually we'll do the Russ rumour rating, the original rumour rating, tomorrow, and a lot of the players we linked with are the England under-21 stars, and a lot of them are young players. And again, there's an exciting crop of players we've been linked with. Now we have to get them over the line, as you said, totally. One thing we have over Brighton is we do have London. I know Brighton's like south as well, but obviously Harvey, came from Fulham before going to Liverpool, and obviously, but there's going to be a lot of other teams after him because he was awesome yesterday in the under-21 semi-final for England. He was brilliant. People are saying, "Oh, Paya-esque." I don't. A different type of player. But he's exciting, he's young, he's British. The fans would get behind him. 40 million. I wouldn't be surprised to see some deal with Kudus potentially. I mean, that's another thing we've got in our favour. We do have a player that Liverpool want in terms of Mohamed Kudus. Who knows, Ken? Who knows? Randy, good afternoon to you. Steve's in the house. Steve as well. Hope you're well, mates. We're not big enough, says Ian. Not good or ambitious enough. Apparently, they're putting in 90 million. That's what we can put in for the PSR. If we're led to be believed, we have to put in. There's going to be. I mean, there is a shortfall as well, and so I don't. I think I wouldn't necessarily think that's going to be all for us in terms of that. A lot of it, some of that will go to debt. Which accumulated, I think, and it'd be interesting to see how that is distributed as well. Because if it's distributed based on, I think Sean did a piece about this, which is what we mentioned, I think a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about it. If sorry, I've got an eyelash right in my eye; it's really annoying. If it's distributed by shareholdings, that's fine. But if there's any sort of differentiation, say Krajinski puts in more than or puts in more of his share than someone else should, then the shares get sort of diluted. It's very complicated. More likely to get Fred Elliott than Harvey. I think, Russ, we need to be sure whether this is actually was all the plan all along, or actually is a reaction response to the board due to the unrest, or simply not the business effective. Personally, I think it's a bit of both. I think, personally, we thought we would get more suitors for our players and we wouldn't have to punt out the line. I think we assumed, and they say, assume makes an ass of you and me. But the way I see it is it's almost like they were saying, oh, it's all right. Yeah, it's going to go over 20 million. Tie it all up. That's about 90. We've done the maths anyway. I've done it in a previous video, and it would be about 100 million quid basically if we sold all the players we thought were going to be sold. Obviously, a delay in Paqueta as well. That's kiboshed a little bit in terms of looking at investing, getting the money for him. I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I've always said that I thought we weren't totally skint. There was money in terms of discrepancies between what we could spend, what we're going to project as a loss, and the difference. I think there was about 15 million quid difference there. And then it looks like they're going to top it up on the proviso that I think, a lot of the money is going to come back from Caduce. And it seems that discussion has been sort of ramped up. He's changed, agents and stuff like that. So I think, I think it's fair to say it'll be a bit of both, I'll be honest. And I think you'll probably see, I think Daniel Cummings will be announced on Tuesday, I think it is. So that might start things moving a little bit. Stuart, I hope you're well. Back on Twitter. We need a goalkeeper, centre back, right back, left wing, and an out and out goal scorer, don't we? Oh, Billy Elliott. We shouldn't put the money in first and sold the players. We should have put. And I think that's why I think, Kim, there's a bit of both. Kim Joe, I think there's a bit of both. I think they assumed that we would have probably sold someone already, and that would have given them not the confidence, but it's easy when you see the money coming into them because okay, well, we're sort of aligned with what we're thinking, but that hasn't been the case. I don't think, and I think what's happened is because we've said this sell to buy thing, it sort of backfired a little bit, and a lot of clubs are coming in with silly offers for the likes of Nayoff and people like that, and we're just saying no, like Caduce, that Spurs going for like 50 million, and we no, and so I think there's. I to be honest, I always assumed that we weren't going to be really active until sort of the last week in June, and that's sort of what it's going to be, or the sort of beginning of July, because a lot of contracts are out of. Obviously, comes to the end of June, 1st of July. A lot of contracts. Obviously, we'll have what's his face Daniel coming in, and then you'll have players moving, players. Clubs having to buy players to replace the ones who are leaving contract. It's a bit different when you see the person out the door, if that makes sense. So, and then obviously the pre-season starting beginning of July-ish. I think it's just over a month until we play Man United at the MetLife Centre. So it's sort of, I get the timing now. We'll always be a circus. Of course we will. We always will be. Hi, Russ. Hi, Mark. If we do get half, we definitely can give him minutes. We certainly can. Banter Club. All I want is our team is David Sullivan out of the club, says Glenn. There we go. Russ, do we really believe this? I think we do. I do. I genuinely do. I think it's something which probably should have, and that's the trouble when you put everything out and you put your dirty laundry out into the Ethernet, then there's going to be negatives towards it, and there was, the sell to buy. Part of me agrees. Actually, we do want to be self-sufficient. We do, but it's the way in the narrative, the way it's been said, and unfortunately, unless someone actually does an interview and talks about it, you see things on Twitter or X or websites or YouTube or things like that, and you sort of take that as read, and that's that, and you sort of piece it all together yourself. But yeah. I've been away, Darren, right? This is it. I've been away. I do apologise. I've been in the Cotswolds for a few days, Mrs. Budden. Had a lovely time. Thank you for asking. And I've got this lovely tankard, Hawkston Jeremy Clarkson's beautiful tank. Oh, beautiful. Unfortunately, Anton's in about an inch worth of dust at the moment in his house. So we're back on. Don't worry, Buzzin's back. We'll sort it all out. So I do apologise. Why don't we go for some free transfers? Well, we have. With Daniel Cummings coming in. Elliot, we're playing European football next year, in my opinion, unfortunately. We could have maybe got him 2-3 years ago. Non-stories, says Mark. Get the two Scousers, Morton Elliott for Caduce. We're going to talk about that later on. How has got over £1 billion? It's like watching Steptoe. I'm obviously not as funny, Russ. Well, I mean, they're all millionaire. I mean, Kaczynski's a multi-millionaire as well. So, you know, they've all got money. If 40 million has been spent anywhere, it needs to be in central midfield, surely. Yep. Elliot for Caduce or Mucus. That's a good name for him. Won't happen though. Do you think West Ham will sign John Durant? Nope. No way, Jose. Someone, I think it was in Hammers News, said how much he's on a week, and basically Al Nazeer said no offers. He's not being sold this summer, despite the fact putting Cristiano Ronaldo to like some ridiculous contracts today. He's on, where is it? Someone put it. Where's the article? I was reading it just now. He's on £320,000 a week, tax free. Now the issue is because the way tax works in the Middle East, you know, you have to be over there for a couple of years for it to not count against you. So you know, if you did leave. There would be an issue with tax, which is a lot for him. Same thing. Remember Jota last year had the same issue. Do Fulham have a sell-on clause? I probably would do. Yeah, would do. And I think, to be honest, I think 40 million sounds about right. Sounds about right for him. I don't know. Let me know what you think. You'd have thought we'd have moved into 9 years later. Would be more. Who would have thought? You would move into 9 years later, Brentford. I think Brentford's going to be really interesting to see what happens because you know, will it all collapse in itself now without Frank in charge? Quite possibly. You know, I think next year's going to be interesting. What happens with Nottingham Forest as well? You know, will they be able to compete with European football and maintain a Premier League campaign? Bournemouth. Sold. Yes, they bought Truffet in, but they sold Kirkes. They've sold Huijsen rather. They're going to sign. Looks like sign Sabanari as well. There's a lot of movement there. So trouble. You get your one season where it's they got a good manager of Areola there, so we'll see what happens. Coming in, indeed, big reason we haven't had many punters. I think it's screen poverty from the rooftops. I don't think we get such ball if we were in a better. I totally agree. Going for at 15, I said that I would accept something around. Well, he was, but I think the club are now, because they're going to put the money in, we're not so tied to waiting, you know, to take the first offer. So, you know, Marseille is still interested in them, apparently, according to reports. So whether that happens, I don't know. I think Real Sociedad won't be a destination. I think they're looking at Igor Tudor from Brighton. And Atletico Madrid, Juventus might come in. See, I don't know why Juventus. They offered us Regani. You know, we're quite keen on Nico Gonzalez. It's like, why don't you just offer him Nico Gonzalez and straight swap? We might be interested in that, I reckon. I wish our board would just keep quiet. I totally agree. The only thing with me is, obviously, we live in a bubble. We don't know. We don't follow Newcastle inside out. We don't follow Arsenal inside out. We don't follow all the ITKs for Chelsea or Aston Villa. So we assume. Now, I'm not saying the others are better or as bad or whatever, but we don't really have a real parameter. We can go and talk to other fans, but again, we've got a different reference base. But I know what you mean. I just think anytime you talk about money, you automatically either make your players seem really cheap or make the players who buy really expensive. The concern I have with Cummings is that it could be a similar situation to Guilherme, where the club have no plan for him. He sits on the bench of the first team and goes into the NHL rally. That with me, the only flip side of that is with Daniel Cummings. That's very much been within the remit of Mark Noble, and it's been with Graham Potter and Carl McCauley, and it's a signing they've had. Whereas Luis Guilherme, to be honest, I mean, I think we've seen more of him since Potter's taken over than when he was under Lopetegui, and I think you'll see next year some development. There was always, I mean, for me, that was always a plan with Luis Guilherme. I said it, I think we had Tim Vickery on, Holly had him on beginning of last season, or in the transfer window. We just signed Luis Guilherme, and he said he wasn't one for that season, but for this season coming. So we'll see. I really hope our board keeps either backs and supports the manager strongly, not half-assed. I agree. We have strange goings on at Canvey Island at the moment, so steady hands. There we go. In my opinion, we can't be self-sufficient because the squad is not good enough to be self-sufficient. Indeed. What's the minimum we would expect? 8.5? Yeah. It can't be half a house. If you don't get right signings, if Potter doesn't work out, the club will be scrambling, but we have to pans out. And it's something I said before, and someone picked up on one of the comments, we're not... People go, we're going to sleepwalk into relegation. It's like, but for the owners, if we got relegated, it would be cataclysmic. So it doesn't make sense for them not to back him. It doesn't make sense to invest in players. It doesn't make sense because losing Premier League status is 10 times worse than the money they'd put in for this transfer window. That's what I don't get. I don't get that narrative. I see some people suggesting the owners can get money, but they put back in once we make sales. But I think PSL will state that they make loans. It has to be a share issue. It has to be a share issue. That's what I was saying about how the money's divided out. So if they put a cash injection in, if it's based on the percentages. So like Sullivan 39% of that money, Kudzinski 27, I think. Or the Gold family 25. The Trip 8%, to so on and so forth. If it's distributed like that, that's fine. But if there's any difference, to say Kudzinski puts in 30% rather than 25% or whatever, 27%, then there will be a dilution of shares elsewhere because that's how it has to work. We're hiding behind this fair play restriction. We wouldn't be splashing the cash whether we had it or not, says John. All right, Russ, hope you're well. Named it. Mark on our stream is very pro academy. Maybe we're saving money there. Top man Mark, go check out that's our podcast afterwards, of course. Mark's a lovely guy. And yeah, of course, very pro academy, same as me. I think there's some gems coming through. We seem to have the conveyor belt working now. It's something we haven't had for the last properly, I'd say. Yes, we can look. I mean, the FA Cup winner, obviously winning the FA Youth Cup a couple of years ago, that was the start of this conveyor belt. And it's going to grow and grow and grow. As I said, we've got guys coming through now. Ollie Scholes, you're going to see next year. You're going to see Freddie Potts. You're going to see. I think Lewis Orford will be on loan. I think Caden on loan. Then you've got the next bunch below them, the likes of Julie Robinson, Edges Golombekis, Preston Fearon, Ezra Mayes. Then you've got the next boot below them as well coming through. It's like Riley Hagan, who you'd have seen. He was the guy that Mark was running with, Mark Noble. Mark looks like he was fucking ready to play. What a body Nobes has got. And I think that was Louis behind it. It was Louis at the back, his son. So he's good friends with big West Ham fan is O'Reilly. Do you think we overspent last year with no Europe and having to wait for sales to make up the difference? I think we underestimated the pool of Europe on players, and as such, obviously we didn't have that European money, but we still spent like we had European money, if that made sense. And maybe we had to pay over the odds to get some of these players in because we didn't have European football. If we'd had European football, I wouldn't think it takes so fucking long to get Todabo in like it did. It took so long. And then Juventus came in, they pulled out, and then we came in. For me, that process would have been a lot quicker. And I think we'd have attracted a lot more players as well because we had Europe. By bringing players in now without Europe, it's almost like it's a majority, maybe with the exception of maybe the young lads who've been linked to it now, is if we're bringing players in from from foreign countries, it's to play in the Premier League rather than necessarily to play in Europe or play for West Ham. So therefore, you've got potentially a stepping stone situation, a bit like Kudus. But obviously, when we bought Kudus in, he had European football. Forest shows everyone could win completely flip the club. I don't think we're as far as it feels. I totally agree, Callum. I'm confident that some youth products will get more game time, whether it's returning ones on loan or because I think he's a diamond shaper indeed. Russ does come in from the owners. Would you use it for more urgent or try to get each position filled whilst being creative with recruitment? Hopefully, I think it's that we're being not necessarily creative, but I think we know that we're led to be believed we've got Raphael Onyeike. He's one that's high on the list. Evan Gissan seems to be someone who keeps staying. That's the name which keeps being linked with. So there's 3 or 4 names that are always proverbially sort of around. I still think, I know the club are apparently moving away from Carl Walker-Peters. He might end up at Fulham randomly. But I really think he would have been quite a creative solution to a couple of problems we've got in terms of that right back, left back situation. Very intriguing who's going to replace the head of now. He was sort of head of development. He wasn't really the head academy. His job title sounded a bit more fancy than it was. The academy is still very much Mark Robson, 21s or 23s. You've got Lewis doing the 18s and various others, but that was a sort of a fancier job title. Evening, Dennis. How are you? Had a tooth pulled out last week. What time was it? 2:30. Now I know exactly how Macaulay and Potter must try and feel arrange this summer. Boom, boom. I like it. I do feel relegation because I think the 3 are going to be as bad as last year. We should be okay, but we should have been okay. Yep, we should have got a bloody nose. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think I don't think at the moment Burnley have got a strong enough side yet. A squad, I could see them yo-yo. Leeds are a strange club. If they could get some, stuff together, get shit together. Sunderland, I just think losing someone like Job is a huge thing for them. He was so influential last year. I think Brentford are going to struggle this year as well. I just think that Thomas, if Norgard goes, which we're led to believe he's going to go, if Imbremo goes, that's 2 massive parts of that side. And that does work. And if Brentford, obviously you still don't necessarily know who's going to be in charge, really. Are they still looking for the manager? I think they are, but still look. Keith Andrews. Keith Andrews looks like he's going to be it. The set piece coach, former. Was he Blackburn? We were in. I remember once we were interested in him. Were we interested in him? I think we linked to him when he's in Blackburn, if I remember correctly. But he's apparently, he's agreed a deal to replace Thomas Frank. I just don't think that's, I don't know. Sunderland, Wolves, Burnley for the job. I think Wolves are not going to do all right. Set piece coach. Unfortunately, we aren't. But if I was looking to go to a new club and would Keith Andrews be the person who'd make me want to sign for Brentford? I don't know. I think they'll be in trouble next year. I really do. I think they'll be in trouble next year. Strangeness, yeah. Particularly, for someone for a club that has very much, as you said, a well-oiled machine, a well-organised club, seems a bit naff. I don't know. You're right. They might see something in him, and it might be brilliant. I mean, look at when Thomas Frank came in. No one really knew of him and what he created at that club. But it's always that second manager syndrome, isn't it? I mean, we've had it, I think, to some extent under Moyes when Moyes left. That second manager syndrome, Lopetegui, Arsene Wenger, and then didn't work. Man United still haven't really sorted that, and could be the effect with Thomas Frank, maybe at Brentford. Keith Andrews, Blackburn. I'm pretty sure we were linked with him when he was at Blackburn. Yes, interesting one, but I suppose it really. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more movement now. Not just West Ham, but I think in general. I think you've still got a lot of players on international duty with the under-21s for the British guy, English guys. Obviously, we'd be linked to 3 or 4 of them. We're going to talk about it tomorrow, and I just think you'll see a lot more movement now. And if we're led to believe, then maybe. Russ, what's important is if the board do back and it's not successful or have a stable season, then they have to change their approach or go to it and give that person trust. Randy, I totally agree. It was a big call to get rid of Tim. I think it was a massive call because it seemed, whatever people have said of Tim, he got deals done. And he was doing it. He was bringing in players. Wherever they've been found or who brought them to him, he got the deals done 95% of the time. And under that setup, you can swap out head coaches if they don't do the job. But now it's a bit like back to Pellegrini setup. Pellegrini and Huslos. Now it's Potter and McCauley. And if it doesn't work again, then I think you've got to go, as you said, I think you'll go back to the director of football setup because it's too much upheaval every time. Look at Brentford. Brentford, classic example. Thomas Frank's gone. He was very much the man. But they had a setup, they had recruitment, they had a head director of football. They could lose Thomas Frank and bring in another head coach without having to rip up the playbook and start again. That's what I want. That's what I want us to have eventually. But I don't think we will at the moment. I think because the issue of that is, as you said, Randy, there's too much trust in someone who isn't the board. And that's the issue, I think. Because we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Lopetegui was another stupid vanity project like Pellegrini, says Mark. Ludders, good afternoon, evening to you. Hope you're well. I'd like to give a shout out to the England 21s, considering Delap taking out the squad. And Job and Gitters have done tremendously to get to the final. It's brilliant, isn't it? And Kev, when we sign Harvey Elliott, he'll bring the under-21 trophy with him, won't he? Or we sign Amari Hutchinson, or we sign Tyler Morton, or James McAtee, or all of them. It's all about that. We won the World Cup in '66. Maybe we'll be the side that wins the Euros in the 2025. 14! Right, nice to see you, mate. It's always good to wake up. Of course, you'd have woken up by now. Good morning, sir. Hope you're well. Hope you're all right. Very nice to see you, mate. Give us a chat. Come on. You need to come on. You need to do a show, mate. You need to do a show. Come on. Send me a text. You don't have to do my hair, of course. Defensive coach Stuart, striking coach Dean Ashton. That would be a good backroom staff for Potter. We won't get Stuart Pearce, right? After Stuart Pearce has been talking. No. And Dean Ashton, I think he's quite outspoken as well. Hayden Hackney, yeah, another one being linked to. Totally agree. Russ, is there any changes you would like to see from Potter going into new season when it comes to tactics or player roles? What you reckon? To be honest, mate, I'm perfectly honest. He gets employed to do it. That's his job. I could sit here. I'm a 43-year-old bald fat bloke from Hornchurch, sitting in front of a webcam talking to you on a Thursday evening. I think we'd all like to see more food, more more food for thought. We'd like to see a lot more possession. We'd like to see a bit of pizzazz, a bit of swagger, a bit of swagger. We'd all love that, but we'll wait and see. Marks, everyone see, booked my little ticket on Tuesday. Does not many tickets sold. There we go. Good luck to you, leaders. I'd like to see us sign Cresswell at centre back. When is the new home shirt out? I have no idea. And again, it doesn't make sense to me. I would love to. I'd love us to sort of and pull out the new shirt before the end of this, or in that June, because Father's Day, like Mrs. Budden and Florence didn't know what to get me, and if it was like the away shirt was out or the third shirt, they would have got that. The clubs would have made a shitload of money, and that would have come into this year's or the year just gone's books, so they could spend a bit more money. Surely, am I that stupid? I've given up my 1 a.m. Sunday morning season. If they come in, just can't do it anymore, says Roy. Or wait and see. They'll all come calling back when we start winning. If we signed all of them, we'd have won the window again, indeed. Jonathan David playing against his old club. Not. Well, he ain't signed for anyone yet, is he? Ain't signed for anyone yet. Does any institutional thrive with so many Chiefs? Probably not. I think they said new shirt will be early June. The Betway sponsorship doesn't run out to the 1st of June. You're totally right. Hi, Michael. Did you see Nick's starting 11? I haven't watched Clan Blues recently, so I haven't watched anything really at the moment. As I said, I've been on my holidays, been a lovely part of the world, Cotswolds. Beautiful part of the world. Absolutely, I loved it. Would highly recommend, if you haven't been to the Cotswolds, go to the Cotswolds. In the summer, it's nice. I've got my Hawkston tanker from the pub. I bought it. Didn't nick it. I bought it. Very nice. New shirt. Yep, makes sense. Russ deserves all 3 kits. Thank you very much, Mark. I can remember after we got relegated, I swear the away kit was unveiled like 3 weeks late. Pictures still had Dr. Martens and our sponsor. Wouldn't surprise me, Dennis, at all. It was team we have not done. Michael would like us to try that 11. I don't know. Don't we have to wait till the 1st? Yeah, we do. You have a better tan than me. Well, I've been in Dubai, haven't I? Been in Dubai, 47 degrees. And was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? I was in Dubai. Beautiful. Then, young Budden, young Florence. She is on her school trip. She's in France on a school trip all week, and it's the first time she's been away from Mrs. Budden. So I thought I'd take Mrs. Budden to the Cotswolds for a few days to take her mind off the fact that her daughter is hundreds of miles away. I haven't bought a shirt in years now, and won't have the proceeds go to that Tory-loving goblin. Very good. We'll have Hammer's headline. Not Hammer's headlines. Rusty win rating, the original win rating. That'll be out later on, and that'll be out tomorrow lunchtime. We've got a lot to get through, a lot to catch up on. James says, "Hi, mates. Top 4. Cummy wines. If we didn't make any signings, where would you? It depends if we sold players. If we didn't sell anyone, I did a thing about this the other day. Like, what if we don't sell any players? I think we've got a better squad because we'll have Freddie Potts back. We'll have Gerd, assuming we don't sell anyone. I think we'd have a good. I think we'd be all right. Home shirt always used to get released either on the last game. Well, they did. I think they stopped doing that once teams started to wear it and then go down. Sheffield United did that as well. Would you keep Bowen as captain? I don't think I would. I'll be honest. But again, that's only because I see what I see on the pitch. And maybe I've got an old-fashioned view of a captain. Never thought Kurt Zuma was a good captain either. I thought Nobes, Kevin Nolan, Declan Rice, Julian Dix. They're captains that I've grown up with. And I've always thought that, hey, it should be a midfielder or a centre-half. That's it. Maybe I'm just old school. And I think it's too much on your mind. I think for Bowen, I just want Bowen to score goals. I don't want him to having to fill his brain with doing stuff. Just fucking score goals. Can see your glasses. Yeah, indeed. It's still there. It's still there. It's still there. It's there. It's there. It's still there. It's still there. It's still there. Yeah, because literally it was like 47 degrees. The pool, I was up to about there. I had my hat on because obviously, and then my glasses. So literally, probably only this bit was tan. Russ, do you think, hand on heart, that the transfer does pick up, or do you still have reservations? I think it will, Randy, because I think he has to. Not that I think him. I just think it has to. It's just the same. Our new sponsor is going to be another Gopping this year. Sponsorless sales will be high, I think. I like it. I like it. I always buy the sponsorless shirt anyway. And it's, it's 12 million quid for 1 year. And then as a 26-27 season, then new sponsor and new make. Russ, if what Nicky from showed, well, it's not. It's all that is. There is no way. The fact is, it's still got Betway as a sponsor, and just look at it's a knockoff Chinese one, mate. I was surprised they did a show about it because it's a knockoff Chinese. It's so obviously one of those crazy ones you're never going to see. Pretty sure anyone talks to each other. That was Schneid. It was Schneid. Just want to see us win a few games. Be lovely, wouldn't it, Ludders? Be lovely. Centre back, CM centre back or full back. Phil Bowen is a good club captain, but agreed on the pitch. You want? I totally agree. And there's nothing. And I'm not. This is not a criticism at all of Bowen, but for me, goals win you games. Goals win you games, and who scores more goals? Bowen. So I just want him to concentrate on scoring goals. That's all I want. Just concentrate on scoring goals. Don't worry about all that that's going on behind you. Just concentrate on that. Someone like I said, I don't know. I mean, Max Kilman maybe, but again, I don't see a shout. Maybe I just don't want a shouty. Maybe I want a shouty person. I like a shouty person. I like a person who has drive. Eventually, a couple of years down the line, Freddie Potts, absolutely man-made, hand-picked to be a West Ham captain. No show of a doubt. Spend money on the training ground. That's what I think. Well, we spent a lot of money on the training ground, Stu. All the everyone talks about all the portal cabins. They've all gone. They're all going to go. They've got to go. So permanent buildings have been made. If you go to the under 21 games, you'd have seen the development that's happening in terms of the new gyms and stuff. They're all being built at the moment. They've redeveloped all the Rush Green stuff as well in terms of all the new seating and things. But that's why people need to go to the academy games, because you get a little look at the training ground. You can see what's being built. And it's got JD in his aid. Ball Sport just reminds me of the Sunderland when they got. Yep, indeed. Indeed. Looks like a bus seat, train seat cover. Don't look shouty, I swear, if you want me to. Yeah. I like a shouty manager as well. And also, it's like, and Potter did this a little bit. He sort of deviated, and Moyes did that as well sometimes. He deviated between tracksuit and smart casual. Sometimes he even went with Lopetegui was always, trousers, 3/4 zip up, grey. You were with him, and if it's a wet day, you put a coat on. I think Potter needs to decide what he's going to do. And I think actually what they do is they dress up when Pep's there. They put on the roll neck. They put on a bit of arse to shave to, but I quite like a manager. I like a head coach in a tracksuit. I don't know why. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Terribly exciting stuff. Couldn't agree more. Did not play as freely as he's done. And I think, I agree. I totally agree. And I think it's not a slight at him at all. He's probably brilliant off the pitch. I'd imagine he's seen Noble, how he was, and Declan Rice, and how they were working as captains, and off the pitch, I'm sure he's brilliant. But on the pitch, we see, and obviously as fans, we only see a microcosm. We see 90 minutes once a week, once a fortnight, live, so to speak, at the ground unless you go to the away games. And so you sort of take your judgment based on that, but you don't. That's obviously an hour and a half in hundreds of hours each day, or each week rather. So I suppose Potter has an opportunity now to announce. I don't think he will though, because I think that's a slight on Bowen, and I think he'd take that personally. We need a vocal man on the pitch. We certainly do. I think there have been so many mixed messages leaked by the club. We just can't guess what's happening. I'm worried we'll be playing an active part of any buy. Well, I think they will be. I think they will do, just because of we haven't got a Tim Steiner now on football operations. Struggled to catch Pompey, but saw the huge. Struggled to catch Pompey, but saw the huge. Well, Freddie has been adored by the fans over there, and some have said he's he's the best player they've seen for 10 years. I think it was the other day. Someone mentioned to me, and very much, yeah. Hi, Russ. Most clubs have now employed a set piece priority. Do you think West Ham have one? I think we should get one, Ricky. I think we should get one. A friend of mine, as Pompey says, he thinks he's not all that. Just saying, interesting. We're in the same thing. We've had video clips of Pompey fans seeing one more year, Freddie Potts. They've made him so. Take it that what you will. Juventus 1, City 5. We never replaced Paul Nevin. I agree. Should have got Igor Tudor's football ready. Blimey, not the Paul. I've been moaning about him for 40 years. Now they're going. My life has no meaning. Yeah, well, I think we had to get rid of him. When Potter went from Brighton to, it was like a uni lad getting his dream job. But joining us, I'm not sure what appearances he's going for. That's the thing, I don't get it. He had the glow up when he went from Brighton for Chelsea, didn't he? He had the proper glow up, as Ryan would know. Yeah, that's a term used in hairdressing. Whereas I think for me, I don't know what look he's going for. It's sort of a mix in the middle, isn't it? Depends who we play, but I do like it. I do like all of them in tracksuits. I don't know why. I just don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. During the summer season, Russ, is there anything you want to see from the team? I think there's a big chunk of the fan base. As I said before, there's a chunk of the fan base who've made their mind up. That's your prerogative. More than happy to. There's a big chunk, I think, who are floating voters. They're not one way or the other. And I think if we saw something like some goals, some performances, some passages of play, something we haven't seen for the first 6 months, really, apart from a couple of bits and starts and maybes. I think that's what we really want in this opportunity, to see what we're going to expect to come through. Good is if you can hear a player shouting at the Sellers Bowl. I used to when I was on my own in COVID. I used to hear them all. A lot of clubs playing in Europe community competitions this season could help us massively. That's what I thought last season, but it didn't really, did it? The new ownership, get the Saudis in. But they're not coming round. That's the thing. I said this before. There's no one really knocking down the door to buy us. So we could, we could, put pressure on them to sell. But at the moment, until someone says, right, I want to buy West Ham, and this is what I want to do, I don't. It's a tricky one. By the sounds, we dodged a bullet with Waddy Johnson, who apparently is one of the worst owners New York Jets have ever had. But I just don't see anyone lining up for it yet. We've had Pie. You remember the Pie company? We've had, Pie Capital, weren't they? Well, they got Tom Smith FA, and they got Anton, and they got Tony Cottee involved, and then but nothing happened. It's never really sort of got going, built any momentum. I'm going to jump off anyway, man. Thank you, though. Noble for me still has a massive influence in the club. He certainly does. A bit within the youth team and the academy. He has an incredible influence. Incredible. And why wouldn't you? If you was a kid, if you was a 18-year-old, 20-year-old, Mark Noble's been playing for West Ham pretty much all your life. and he goes on the track. I mean, listen, I'm sure if you listen to Dad's Our Pod, Adam will tell me. I'm sure Mark Phillips would have spoken about Nobes. Obviously, he's his number two, so to speak. Noble's number two, but he's there all the time. He's puts his boots on, does training sessions, gets involved. You see him; he was running with Riley Hagan on holiday. It seemed. Was it yesterday that picture came out on Twitter? And he's an ace up our sleeve. As I said, he was heavily involved in the Daniel Cummings coming here process as well. I've just joined, but what do you think of a loan for João Felix if we lose both Kudus and Paqueta? He hasn't really done it, has he, at Chelsea? He had 2 bites of the cherry. He hasn't really done it, and that worries me. I want my manager in a bit of a stony. Nice. That's what I like. This is Potts' first season charge with the players he wants, but we'll wait and see. We haven't got the players yet, so until that time happens, Ken, we haven't got them. Canadian sovereign wealth. I just don't think. I mean, we've had, as I said, we've you and me have spoken about this. I just haven't seen anything concrete at the moment yet. Not saying it won't happen, but I don't see anything concrete. The question is, do they want to sell? I don't think they do. Although it's going to cost them 90 million quid this year. And no one wants, and I know it's all relative in terms of how much money people have got, but, if someone says you have to pay a cut, for us lot, you have to pay a couple of grand to do something every year, you'd be like, fucking hell. You know what I mean? It's like, really? Not while they're making money, indeed. We will be putting a significant loss posting this financial year. I do Pot may be able to do a job, mate. But will there be enough funds to grab the right players we need? I'm all for youth, but got to be able to adapt quickly. And that's always been the issue for me, because clearly, there is a school of thought where people want academy players in, and I'm all for that. I also say that 97% of Premier League academies players that come through never play a single minute of Premier League football. So you have to be in that 3%. And actually, if you look at it, we're sort of a higher percentage than the average, because you've got to think how many players we've got in the under 21s and how many of them have played Premier League football already, and I'm including the likes of Ollie Scholes. Having 3 or 4 players in there, that's not too bad. George Earthy and people like that as well. We've actually done all right. The trouble is managers are on a huge pressure to sort of pick up wins. Potter had it easy when he came in. I think Potter had it easy. He could play a couple of the academy boys, get the fans on board, because there wasn't really any genuine risk of us going down. But what would be interesting to see when the chips are down, is he going to play? It's the same as any manager. When the chips are down, are they going to play the kids or are they going to play their generals? And it seems people do tend to play the generals. Similarly, you can go to France and buy look at someone like Evan Guessand, for example, 23 from Nice, 20 million quid. People say, but we've got Callum Marshall we do, but Callum Marshall is not Evan Guessand, and so, and someone like Josh Ajala is 3 years down the line before he becomes the first team at West Ham. I offered them 2 billion, and Sullivan said he wanted 1 billion. How much do you think the club is worth? Well, based on how much they're trying to sell gold shares for, it is valued at £1 billion, because the gold shares, 25%, they're asking for £250,000. £250 million. 250 million pounds. So based on that valuation, in the open market, it's £1 billion. However, when Kudzinski signed and became the second highest shareholder, himself, Sullivan, and David Gold did have a agreement where if one of them wanted to sell the shares, they had an agreed price, which I believe is below market share, which to me should pay credence to the concern of David Sullivan getting more shares, or Daniel Kudzinski becoming a bigger shareholder. They would have had the opportunity to do that on David Gold's shares already, but they didn't. I feel that Sullivan is just another glazier. He won't sell until the club is run into the ground. But again, I don't necessarily see the point of running the club into the ground, because surely the value of the club will have diminished. Anyway, got to get ready for work. Good luck, mate. Yes, I want you on the. I want you on the channel, mate. If you were up for sale, what are they buying? You don't own a ground, or most running costs the women play at other clubs' grounds. 1 billion, my arse. Well, and that's the thing. You can value it. I can say. You know, this is a £1 million. And if no one, if someone buys it, £1 million, fair enough. But if someone offers me 10p and I give it to them, you know, it makes it all futile. Company can make a loss, Russ, but they don't stop making money. No, I agree. Totally agree. Got to buy some players. We could pinch from Leon. Just don't want Caruso at Spurs. I don't think he'll go at Spurs. We need another biscuit baron. Yeah, that worked out well, didn't it? Last time. The owners, some people just don't care who comes in as long as sometimes it's a case of better the devil you know, as things can always get worse. Raven, you know, and again, I'm not gaslighting. I've got to say this. I'm not gaslighting. I am more inclined to agree with that statement, in my personal opinion. Yes, some people, you know, people always said, I remember people saying, I want anyone apart from Moyes. And then Lopetegui came in and that didn't work. And then said, I don't, but not Lopetegui, but you just enjoyed anyone apart from Moyes. So it's the same principle for me. I think, you know, we've seen clubs go from owners to owners, and it's some of it's been a success and some of them haven't been a success. You know, when Newcastle, before Mike Ashley came in, then Mike Ashley came in and then went all tits up. Then obviously, then the Saudi came in, Saudi contingent came in, and they've won a trophy, but they still haven't really unlocked the wealth that they have because of the way the football spending is set up. So I'm inclined to agree. All tackle, maybe Malik Fofana. Mukiele to say we were linked with him, weren't we? So we'll see. Anyway, we actually going to sign one. I think we will. I bought it from his pub. Cost me £10. And I bought it yesterday. So I was in the Cotswolds, had a lovely pint, went to the farmer's dog, had a lovely burger in the farmer's puppy, and had a pint. I had a pint of their stout. I've had in the hotel. I had a pint of the lager, very good. Mrs. Bunn had a cider. Then I had an elderflower shandy, which was beautiful. Not just the clubs being sold, it's someone being able to fight for ownership of the ground and invest it. And I don't think, in all honesty, all tackled up, there'd be much of a fight in terms of getting the ground. But at the moment, we're in a situation where we're paying fuck all, really. And so I think that's part of the reason why they haven't fought. Eventually, it will just be given to us because they're losing so much money. It's ridiculous. Newcastle owners have a new ground. I mean, that's what they're thinking of doing. They're thinking of moving St James's Park, and that would itself, Everton obviously moving grounds, and there's been a lot of people going, "Oh, not too sure." Newcastle, they're moving grounds potentially. It's just showing. Because I think Newcastle is like a perfectly set up ground, straight from the station. It's brilliant. Did someone say that he is leaving the club so we'll never get rid of him? Some fans will not be happy. Lullers, things change quickly, don't they? I mean, look at David Gold. He passed away, then Jacqueline passed away, and now they're looking to sell the shares. So there we go. Are we actually going to sign anyone? Yes, we will, Cole. Yes, we will. Who? I don't know. But the Rushing Room Roundup, the original rumour rating, was a moth. We'll talk about tomorrow lunchtime. We've got another 6 or 7 players we've been linked with, of course. And I'll show you the latest list of players we've been linked with, just to show you how ridiculous the whole process is. Anyway, my friends, couple of things, couple of housekeeping. If you're new around here, thanks for joining us. A lot of new subscribers recently. If you could give it a like, it really helps out the channel. A little comment, even if it's like a little cross stammers, not in the live stream chat, but if you're watching it on catch up. Subscribe to the channel. We've also got the members. Become a channel member, get entered into the monthly draws. We'll be having the monthly draws for July. Is it July already? Yes, it is. And we've got, for the next few weeks, we've got the Martin Noble signed shirt, 2017-18 signed shirt. That's going to be running. We also probably concurrently, because I fucked up and put the month in. I was meant to do it for a week and I put it for a month. But between friends. We've got a really good. So I get it for you. So I'll show you. You like this? You like this? Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. It's like changing rooms. Right. So that one, 2017-18 shirt, that's available now on the raffle. Go back and check that out. Link in the description below. And then we got this one next. Not one, not two, but three. Woo! Billy Bonds, Sir Trevor Brooking, and Mark Noble. That'll be the next one on the raffle. Fucking good shirt that is, isn't it? On the front as well. That'll get out. That we'll put that out soon. So keep an eye on that. How many points that we hope gets in the opening games? As many as possible. Did Emerson ask to go, or was he pushed? Well, he hasn't gone yet, but I think he wants to go anyway. You know, he's got one. You know, thinking from a pragmatics perspective, he's got one decent move left, isn't he? And if he wants to go back to Italy, too fucking right. We want to play my football in Rome or Stratford. I'm not saying we're buying all these players. No, we're not. I've got to keep saying that. I think the club want to sell him. I mean, you know, we want to sell him. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got a situation now where Ollie Scars is now he's going to be given the opportunity to be the number one position starter there, and then we bring in someone else. So there we go. So for me, it seems to make sense to move Emerson on and recoup some money for that to then put towards the next left wing back. If Sullivan puts money in, he'll want to buy players he wants with favoured agents involved. Well, again, that's going to be interesting to see how that works with Macaulay and data-driven setup and all that type of stuff. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who comes along in it and what agents they're set up to. Which again, I think it was Gonzo did a bit about it, talking about was it Gio? Probably a combination of the two. Talking about, you know, when some of the stories come out, it could be a case of certain agents getting their nose put out of joint because Carl McCauley's not talking to them. He's doing his own thing. Where previously he might have been talking to the agents, West Ham, in terms of buying players. So that might be why. Yes, Holly will be doing that. Fancy we'll start that soon. Definitely need a right back, especially Wan-Bissaka. Yep, that's what I've been saying. We need a right back for a month in end of mid-December to January. Zinchenko plus 40 million for us. Yeah, I think the Zinchenko thing's gone a bit quiet now. He's on a high wage as well, so I just can't see it. Russ, some of the comments are hidden because I can't see some of the chats you are quoting. I don't know, Mark. Sorry, Darren. I don't know, mate. I do not know. What we can do is great show. Off to collect from my. Oh, enjoy, mate. I said my daughter is currently in Normandy. She'll come home tomorrow. So yes, and I've just put out the massive pool, and so she can jump in the pool later when she gets back. Do you think Scars get a few? I mean, to be honest, I think Scars is a starter next year. We're definitely going to need a few of them, as I reckon we need 8 minimum. I think Scars, Earthy, Potts for sure. I think the others, I can't see them happening. I think they'll go on loan. We will apparently announce Daniel next Tuesday on the 1st of July. Anyway, peeps, take care. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. And I'll see you very, very soon on the West Ham Safety Network. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back on Stell's channel and watch the West Ham Voice. Anyway, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye. Much love.